There are other techniques that you can put into Da Lui, as long as you're keeping in mind the 3 forward steps and the 2 backward steps. You can put any techniques in here that you like. For instance, if Martin starts out and attacks, I'll block it, step back, take my first step backwards. As he takes his second step and comes in with his third step, I step around, which is my second step, and use bend backwards on him. So we're still in keeping with the principle of 3 forward and 2 back. By the same token, if he attacks again, I can use arm twist, which is block, and he comes in with his second step, then his third step, and I take my second step and use arm twist and bend downwards. So that's the principle of Da Lui. It's the 4 corners method. You're actually using 13 postures, using 8 postures and 5 directions: forward, backwards, left, right, and central equilibrium. Now we go back on to double push hands for a while and use bend backwards. It's the same technique that I just used in the Da Lui. You can use it in double push hands. It's got to get the timing right though. A little pull down on his arm, step around immediately and whack. Your arm goes across his chest, also blocking that right elbow with your left arm, or vice versa. Now he defends by simply giving me a shoulder stroke into my chest and pushing me off. So it's quite easy to defend against that. But you really got to have the timing right for that one. Now this is the reverse of the one I just did. I'm coming through with my other leg this time and bringing both arms smashing down across his chest. I'm using my right leg to actually trip him up. But in order to do these techniques, your timing must be perfect. You must Now we'll go on and I'll just show you one more technique from the push hands, which is called Choi, or inch energy, or pull down. This is quite a nice little technique, and it can lift the other person's feet straight off the ground. As you come around for pull down, your left hand grabs the wrist and comes up under the wrist and grabs his right hand. Now you imagine that there is a sort of an arc going down from his right arm over and onto the ground. You take a step back, and then there's the arc there. Then you wrench the arm down, and if that's done with enough power from your waist and your legs, the person will actually do a nose dive straight into the ground. You must imagine the arc though, otherwise you just don't have that power. This is also another technique. You can do an arm lock from those techniques and then bend the arm into a hammer lock, as we did before. They can be done quite fast, and they're very hard to get out of, unless the person is really sensitive and aware of what's going on. This is Chi Sao, or the Taiji version of push hands. Rather, not push hands, sticking hands. Notice how I've got my hands on top and Martin's hands are underneath, and there's a very light touch in between the hands. There's no pressure there. It's sort of like a Qi Gong position. Now, if Martin is going to attack, he simply attacks my chest, and I open my hands and open them downwards. Now, if I'm going to attack him, I simply come back and attack his neck or upper body, and he simply opens his hands out and defeats my attack. Now he can come straight back with an attack if he wants, and then I've got to open my hands out really quickly and then come back with an attack as well. Come back and he can come back straight away, and you can get this sort of thing happening until one person tries to stop and circles again. Now of course you can swap your hands over, and now I can go on the bottom and he can go on the top. The next avenue is to attack with one hand. Yeah. So, if I attack with one hand to Martin, I've still got to attack underneath. Down, he just blocks one hand down, like so. If he attacks with one hand, he attacks the face, and I just block it out, like so. Now you can start swapping your hands around so that now we have one on top and one underneath. That's the next avenue. So there we are. We've got one on top and one underneath. Now Martin's got to attack with his left hand to my stomach, and I block it down. I've got to attack to his face with my right hand because it's on top. Now you can see what's going to happen here later on. He can attack me now with this other hand simultaneously, and I'm going to have to block it. So what you've got to be ready for here, if I attack him with my right hand, I've got to be ready for yin with my right hand, with my left hand. So if I go yang, yin, I've got to be ready for that re-attack there. And he has also got to be ready. So if he attacks with an attack, say for instance he attacks down here, I attack with my palm to his face. So what you're learning here is simultaneous attack and defensive techniques. Now you see the hands can move anywhere they want to. They start moving anywhere. Now I can come in down here, bang, with an attack. He can defend that and attack with a face attack up here. Or if he comes in, say for instance, with an attack to the face with his left hand, I can then re-attack with that same palm back to his face. So what you're looking at here is you've got to be really careful of what that other hand's doing when you attack him. It has to do totally with sensitivity and awareness training for your martial art. Now, you can even bring this hand over and try locking techniques within this. Now, this does get more advanced than this. The next area, of course, is to start moving. Now, you can go from double push hands into Chi Sao, which is what they like to do in China. They just go straight from Chi Sao and back to push hands and vice versa. Now the next area of this Chi Sao is to start kicking the legs. Now it becomes a little more difficult. Now the way we kick is, the first thing to learn is to simply get your leg out of the way. Now this is an old technique that I picked up in the Philippines from an old arnis master. See, now you just pick your front foot up, and you can either re-attack with it or just put it down. So you pick your heavy leg up. You don't actually sit back. You pick your foot up and slam it down on the ground again just to get it out of the way like that. So you train doing that for a long while. So now you can put in all the kicks that you want to while still worrying about what the hands are doing. So your feet are working totally independently of what your hands are doing. The next avenue, of course, is to start moving around while still kicking and attacking with the hands. Now it becomes really advanced and really quite difficult.